I love the way like the volume can be so low. It just feels like I've got so much sort of acoustic volume that I almost don't want it, you know?
Sounds great where I'm sitting.
Maybe I should sit over there.
No, you know what's cool though is you're getting that, and you're getting, because that thing's quite resonant. It sounds great. So you're getting a combination of the two.
Yeah, with this volume it's fine.
I like that. Actually, it's cool.
Or maybe we were talking about sort of maybe some nuts and bolts stuff that people can get to.
Yeah.
If there's one thing that we should all be practicing.
Oh God! Well, I mean, you know what though? There's some stuff that I discovered a long time ago, and I still sort of adhere to those principles, like just the fundamentals.
Go on.
Well, for example, like if you're a guitar player, one of the first things I ask my students is how well do you know the fretboard? And some of them say, well, I know it pretty well, and then I don't really try and test them, but I say, well, let's play a little bit, or I'm going to put a little piece of music in front of you, like just a lead sheet, simple.
Sure.
Play the melody,
Yeah.
or play the chords, and a lot of them can't do that.
Sure.
And it turns out that there is kind of an inconsistency or a disconnect between them thinking they know, they can look at a note on the staff maybe,
Yeah.
and recognize it, but then when it's time to sort of take it and then actually play it on their instrument, there's a delay.
Okay.
Right, so they don't. So and the point is, I think a lot of younger guitar students don't know the fretboard nearly as well as they should. So they have to spend time actually, like, you know, naming the notes, knowing different places to play some of the stuff they maybe already know.
Sure.
Different places to play, like their diatonic harmony.
Yeah.
Different string groups.
Yeah. Do you feel that's got something to do with it, like the nature of the visual aspect of the guitar?
Well, it's not as visual as the piano. You know, when you play the piano, to me, it's like you're looking at a menu in a restaurant. You can go like, everything's like well laid out. You sit down at the piano, you can see all the notes in front of you.
Sure.
Plus, they all look the same in every octave. Because of the B string and the fact that you can, like if you play the same note on the piano, in relation, like between the black and white keys, it's the same regardless of what octave you're in.
Yeah.
Whereas the guitar doesn't have that.
That's true. Yeah. But I mean more in the kind of shapes, you know. It's...
Well, yeah. I mean, I think it's after a while when you get a little bit more advanced, we start to hear in sort of combinations of visual shapes or see the visual shapes and hear different little sound bites, so to speak.
Okay.
Whether you want to call them motifs or cells or licks or whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we don't want to take these little ideas and just sort of mindlessly recite them, because then every solo would sound the same.
Sure.
So it's, I mean, even Charlie Parker, like I remember reading an article on him, they listed about 20 or 25 little sort of variants of lines or motifs that he would use.
Yeah.
But he would play them in different places.
Sure.
In the bar.
Yeah.
And it just sounded, inventive. Plus, he wouldn't just do that, but that would be one of the things he would draw from.
Yeah.
And I think guitar students, you know, we have to develop vocabulary, but we also have to be able to access it on the instrument. I think that's where things really break down.
Sure.
Is having the technical or the physical skills required to be able to implement whatever idea pops in.
I guess maybe what I'm getting at is the fact that you can just literally just move a shape around.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the easy thing about the guitar and the worst thing about the guitar.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
So, I mean, are there any tips for breaking that habit somehow?
Well, one thing that you can do that I've tried doing, and doesn't require necessarily writing it down or anything, but anytime you learn a new voicing, whether it's a triad or a 2-note shape or 5 or 6 note, is to sort of categorize it or catalog it in a couple of ways. In other words, let's say you were playing this chord earlier.
Oh yeah.
No, which is a beautiful voicing for like an for an E minor chord,
Yeah.
right? So if you looked at it, other than the root, because a lot of times we'd be playing with a bass player. So if you want, you can look at it from the vantage point of the bottom note. So this voicing, other than the root, is built on the 5th, right? And what you can do is you can attach numbers to it. So instead of thinking like E, B, G, A, D, F sharp, that's only good in that key. But if you think 5, 3, minor 3, 4, flat 7, 9, you could take that and you could plug it in different contexts without necessarily going, E minor, hey, F minor, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, that does facilitate things. But then, so what you can do is you can sort of use the top note or the bottom note as kind of a visual guide. And if you've kind of taken like a, you know, it's almost like your eyes are like a digital camera. If you pay attention to anything that we discover along the way, you look at it and you go like, oh yeah, it's movable. And if I play it here, that'll work for, well, A sus or E minor or G major 7. But, or you look at the top note. The top note would be over E, it's the 9th, right? You know, if it's G major 7, then it's going to be the 7th.
Yeah.
If it's A sus, you know, it's going to be the 13th.
Sure.
So what we do is we sort of label or categorize these voicings, and then we get kind of a repository of sounds that are available. And then if you did that with every voicing and then start stringing them together, not the same shape, but one grip to another,
yeah,
what happens is you wind up developing without even wanting to or realizing it, a chord melody.
Sure.
You know? So if I did something like, I don't know, like, you know, every time you do that, you get a different, you get a melodic line that's generated, plus the supporting harmony. And then you could do that for chord solos, like on your own, or if you're backing up someone else and you recognize what they're playing, or you know what melody they're about to play, you could fill in with these different sounds. So it's sort of like, it's like getting 2 or 3 things, recycling the voicing from two
Sure.
or 3 different ways.
And relating that voicing to a particular key and its possibilities within that key.
Yeah, or
Sure.
different contexts. And then also alternate voicings you can generate with a different root.
Right.
You know, so if I did like, let's see. Like if I just went like E minor A, D minor B, you know, I could go like, let's see here. I'm just sort of clumping together different like grips. Ed Baker used to call them grips. And again, every time you do that, there's a different sound that's generated, and they all sound connected. And the thing that really connects it is the top line.
Sure.
You know.
Sure.
So, you know.
So when you're playing chord melodies, you're thinking about the top note.
A lot of the time, yeah.
Right.
And then already having stored away in my repository different shapes that would go underneath it to support it.
Yeah.
You know.
Great.
So, I mean, so it could be this, you know, as you know, or it could be this, or it could be this,
Right.
or it could be. That's already did that one. What else? What else here? Yeah, they're all like sort of sub, and then up the octave. You know. So for me, like the voicing thing is really hinging on melody with supporting notes.
Right.
That's just another way to look at a chord.
Sure.
Just like if you did this, you know. You know, what you're hearing a C major triad, you know, to a D minor. But what you're hearing, if you listen really carefully, you'll hear the top note is always going to stand out, because it's at the top. It's the peak of the voicing, right? You know.
Great. So I mean, this is also a way to break out of any kind of. Oh, listen to that bird out there.
Yeah, it's pretty.
This is also a way to break out of any kind of system you might have with drop twos or something like this.
Well, yeah, exactly. But see, those things have their uses as well.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But for me, whenever I play a voicing, and I guess I got it from listening to Ed so much and playing with him all those years, the idea that the voicing is really subordinate to the melody.
Right.
Even in a grip, like in a chord,
Sure.
the top, it's almost like the top note is kind of taking precedence.
Yeah.
You know, even when it's accompanying somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, so that's sort of how and that's one of the ways that Ed really stood out as an accompanist. There was always a melodic component to his background accompaniment. It wasn't just playing a bunch of stock rips without any regard for.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So
I've heard you talking about this your style of accompanying as a kind of pianistic style.
well, trying to, yeah. Lenny Breau, I listen to a fair bit, and especially Bill Evans. And,
There's a link there, isn't there? That I kind of noticed. We're gonna have to shoot that bird in a minute.
no, let's leave it in.
We'll leave it.
Yeah, bird lives. Birds live.
Yeah, I mean, the three guitarists that we're talking about are you, Ed Bickett, and Lenny Breau.
Well, Lenny Breau's main influence, he was into country music before he played jazz.
Yeah, I've got probably everything he recorded actually. But I just mean.
But Bill Evans was a big influence on him. He was sort of like the Bill Evans of the guitar initially,
Sure. But you're Canadian, of course. So I mean, does this mean that there's a Canadian style of guitar playing?
Well, there might. Well, I don't know. I mean, the fact is that Lenny was originally from Maine, but he lived in Winnipeg, Manitoba, for many years.
Right.
So he's sort of considered a Canadian guitar player.
Yeah.
And then Ed, and they both sound radically different, but both incredible, and both definitely influenced by instruments other than the guitar.
Sure.
I mean, Ed used to listen to a lot of big band music.
Yeah. But the common thread is that this simultaneous playing of notes with a kind of that sort of I don't want to say claw hammer, but
a different sort of attack, and for sure. Yeah.
And it's definitely a style. Well, I can hear it anyway.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Yeah, it's. I mean, it's something that we're probably is happening more universally, but at the time when they were doing it, it was quite revolutionary.
Right. Yeah.
And that sort of was a contribution to the sound and conception.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It still sounds hip as hell.
Oh no! I mean, it's yeah. It's just another way to get chords out of the instrument. But I'm a big fan. Like that's why sometimes when, if I and a lot of people do this. Sometimes when people do an intro to a tune, they don't necessarily just play the melody harmonized. And Bill Evans did that a lot. You take the framework of the tune, and play a melody with harmony together, and sort of expound or elaborate on the changes. Like if it was like, if it was Stella, or if it was Gone with the Wind, I might, you could do something like, So I'm playing the framework of the tune, but I'm just playing voicings and whatever the top note happens to be,
And you know what tune it is, yeah.
What I'm doing there is I'm playing grips, like shapes,
Yeah.
already knowing in advance how the melody will relate to the chord, right? So if I went like, so the fifth's on top, third's on the top, 13th's on the top, flat nine's on the top, nine's on the top, flat nine's on the, etc., right?
Great.
So there I'm connecting the dots between voicings, but they're not voicings that are like 1, 3, 5. They've got the odd extension in there.
Yeah.
So, but you're hearing this melody move, and while it's moving, it's like I said, it's got the remnants or the other notes of the chord are there to sort of provide the cushion.
Yeah.
And so you put the two together, but they're not really. It's really just a voicing.
Yeah.
But you're also trying to bring out the melody too, right? So part of that is the touch, right? Sorry. Or like. Oh, sorry. making some shit up here. And then you can maybe then throw in like a melody. That just popped into my head.
Yeah,
Throw.
If you could see me now. Yeah. Did I hear a bit of Stars Fell in Alabama earlier as well?
Yeah. Oh, maybe. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. So that's and again, that's sort of in my DNA again from hearing someone like Ed, where there was always a very rich melodic.
Sure.
Underlying component to everything he played.
It's becoming totally clear, just how melody is king and everything.
Yeah, melody and rhythm. Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But it's, you just got such a beautiful way of making the voicings just complement that whole melody. It's just touch. I think that was.
Right. And then you could play solo guitar sort of that way by kind of arpeggiating it, but not straight up or down. Like if I went. There I didn't play any roots,
Yeah.
Because if the guide tones or the 3s and 7s are there, they so strongly imply the chord, you don't always need the root,
Totally.
Beat 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 5. Those are just chord note triplets in it. I guess in grouped in twos. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, the blood's starting to come back.
Yeah. Just starting, right?
No, that's, honestly, man, my hands are actually feeling loose now. Finally, good.
I'll tell you what. Just anyone sitting down and studying what you just did for the last 5 minutes is just gonna. That's enough for life, I reckon.
Oh, I don't know about that, but
am I right? I mean, that's absolutely incredible.
But the tag thing is a fun thing. I remember the first time I heard a tag.
I only stopped because I thought you were ending it.
Oh no, that's fine. I was sort of. Yeah, no, it's fine. But the whole issue of tag endings. I remember when I first started hearing that. First time I heard that and sort of recognized what it was on the Miles Davis album.
If I Rebel.
Well, I heard that one, but.
Oh, Bye Bye Blackbird. No.
No.
I'll shut up and I'll let you talk about
that. But the one, yeah, those are all great records. But the one thing that sticks in my mind is the album My Funny Valentine live.
Yeah.
Where they do All of You, and they get to the end part where the tag is actually longer than their solo, right? So they get to, let's see, hang on. So do, dee dee do 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 dee dee do dee do do dee do 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 da 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 da, and then they go, and Ron Carter goes.
Yeah.
And then, they go on for about another 10 minutes at the end of each solo. And then finally they go, I love all of you. Then they go to the next solo.
Yeah.
And right there when I heard Herbie do he'd go that's standard, But then he started getting into, then he turns the 2 chord into a dominant, right? So he goes, plays F13 and he goes, and then he goes, and then G minor. They all become dominant chords. So it's like 2, 3, 4. And what he does is he just plays some of those upper triad things on it, and the triads keep going up. So you go like just play like an F7 for me. Go. And then go to B flat. Then go to G. And then go to C. And then go to F. And then go to B flat, and then go to G, and then go to C. So he keeps inverting the triads, so he's playing those upper structure things like a G triad over F. Plus he does the rhythmic thing where he goes like, or just play those chords, and I'll play them in a broken fashion. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Sorry.
Yeah. A G triad, to C, D flat, F sharp. He just keeps playing all these triads that yield upper extensions, and just breaks them up rhythmically in different ways.
Incredible.
So Herbie did that like in the '60s. I listened to it and I thought, wow, there was more tension created on the tag than when they were actually just playing on the body of the tune. So anyway,
amazing.
Yeah, it certainly knocked me out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.